Buddy Matt with a Low Cash Homestead. So, garden boxes, trellises. My buddy gave me some of these T-posts here. These are a little lighter gauge ones that they're going to be fine. So we got a box filled. So it's been raining for a week, and I've been looking at weather projections, and it's supposed to be raining for another week. The only day that it's not going to be pouring rain is Sunday, the May 5th. So, friend's going to come over and bring his tractor and cart, and we are going to attempt to get these boxes full. But I am just so ecstatic about getting this one box full. Let's talk a little bit about what we filled it with. I ordered this dirt, actually, and it had to come in 2 different shipments. But it is 12 yards of raised bed mix and 4 yards of mushroom compost, and it's all mixed together. So it's all mixed in. Let's talk a little bit. Mushroom compost, we know what that is. That's the leftovers of producing mushrooms, which is commonly several types of animal manure. Okay, so it's fungally digested animal manure. So a fungus has eaten the manure, produced the mushrooms, and left this beautiful mushroom compost. The raised bed mix is a combination of screened river soil, Hanson's black gold compost, sand, and something else. I'm not remembering the last ingredient right now, but it's about $40 a yard. Actually, no, this was $30 a yard, and the mushroom compost was $55 a yard plus delivery fees. Now, the largest truck that they had is a 13 yard. That's also a tandem axle, which would not be able to get into my property. So either way, since I had to have multiple deliveries, I just had 2 8-yard trucks come out, each one mixed equally with the mushroom compost and the raised bed mix. Let's talk about the cart. This cart is a 12 cubic foot cart. So if I were to fill it to its maximum capacity and bring it over, it would be a little less, it would be 2 carts plus 3 cubic feet to make a yard. Okay, so it'd be 24, but a cubic yard is 27 cubic feet. So if you were to fill this square, then it would take approximately 5 carts to fill this. I think it took me 6 or 7 because I couldn't fill it all the way full, just because the ground is muddy. This is the only day that it hasn't rained continuously in a week, and this is Friday the 3rd. So anyway, we've managed to get 1 box full, and tomorrow is market, so I got a whole trays of microgreens and some leafy greens and stuff that I've got to go prep for market. And here's the thing that I do in our particular area. I sell my greens as live plants, and I do that for a couple of reasons. One, it gets me out of a whole bunch of rigmarole with packaging, and it gets me out of packaging rules. 2, I am enrolled. I mentioned this before in a live chat that I was doing. This is before they instituted the 1,000 subscriber rule. But in any case, about preparing for market, and one of the things that we do is we accept double up food bucks. If your markets have a double up program, enroll in it. Because what that does is it allows, and you'll get a lot of SNAP benefit users who come down to the farmers markets because they can use their double up food bucks. And what that does is if you take and you have a SNAP benefit and you take $50, then you get $100 towards fresh vegetables. And those live plants are SNAP eligible because it's food. So I can sell my greens and produce and microgreens and everything, and I can sell them as live plants. One, it cuts out the packaging rigmarole. It cuts out the inspection rigmarole, and for farmers market, it's not really a huge deal. But when you start getting into some things that they are a little less familiar with, when I started the microgreens, nobody really knew what that was or how to go about it or anything like that. So I had to work my way through we don't know if that's a safe thing, and So one, it cuts me out of packaging, it cuts me out of labeling. I can still take snap and double up coins, and it just saves me a metric ton of time. Now, one of the things that I do when we are talking about selling those things is I sell them in the little 5x5 flats, especially the microgreens and some other greens. I sell those in 5x5 flats, and then I tell my customers, hey, bring this flat back to me and I'll give you a discount off your next purchase. And depending on what it is, it's usually about 50 cents. That gives them, one, gives my customer an incentive to come back, and two, it's recycling, and it's recycling in its simplest form. Remember your old soda bottles, your old glass soda bottles, which personally I miss, horribly miss. And yes, you can still get glass soda bottles, but I'm not drinking a Coke that was bottled in Mexico. I'm sorry, because I don't trust the water. Ha 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 ha! Hey, big joke, right? I'm messing with you. But at $2 for a 16-ounce Coke, I'm just not doing it. Back in the day when you could buy the 24 and the 12 packs of glass bottles, and like when I was a kid, and you take that bottle back, it's essentially the same thing. I'm just doing it with PET flats, the little black poly flats. And I'm saying, hey, bring that back, and I'll give you a discount on your next purchase. And that brings a lot of customers back to my table. Another thing that I started doing differently is, and this may change according to the season, because the hotter it gets, the more difficult it's going to be with some of the leafy varieties, is I do the blackout, but I no longer grow them 100% under artificial light. I take them and I put them in one of the, as we're walking, you see a lot of the work I still have to do. And I put them in a modified version of the heat mat hot box, which I'm going to walk up here real quick and just give you an idea here. So this is a modified version of the heat mat hot box, and I've got pollen strands and everything all over it. But essentially what I did is I raised the front up. I left a metric S ton of airspace. And then by doing that, I also disabled the heating elements inside here. Okay, so they get their natural airflow as this heats up, but it has so much airflow that so far it's maintaining its temperature quite well, and I'm not actually using any of the heat mats hooked up in here. Now it's been raining, and we've got, I said, it's been raining for a week. Let's see if I can clear some of this away. Actually, let's go ahead and just, I also went single pane on these. Let's pull one of these back. And let's take a look. That's some of the beautiful goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. I just got a whiff of that wasabi, and it is fantastic. So these are like my mustard spinaches. This is my BSM right here. You can't get enough of the smell of that wasabi mustard. I'm telling you, it is fantastic. It's like a horseradish, but it has a mustard green, so it's not a tuber. I don't have to worry about it. You eat it just as it is. And these are like a velvety, carpety shag versus being, yes, they're a little bit leggy, but microgreens are by their nature. And this, as I'm touching it, this is just a velvety, oh man, it has some very, very firm, nice texture to it. You see that I push down on it like here, boom, and it just pops right back up. So by doing them outside, even when it's not particularly sunny, that ambient light does wonders for these. And like I said, I no longer harvest them. I sell, let me pull one of these out. I sell the whole setup in the poly tray and everything, and then they bring these back to me. I'm going to say 9 out of 10 customers do. I've actually had customers go, oh man, I forgot my tray. And then the next week go, oh man, I forgot my tray. And then the next week, oh man, I forgot my tray. But they buy another one anyway. And then week 4, they bring me 3 trays, and they're just paying a fraction of what they would normally pay because they've turned in 3 trays, and each tray is worth a little discount. So by doing that, it incentivizes the customer. So we've changed this a little bit. Now, will I continue using this as it starts to get disgustingly hot? Because in my zone and climate, it will, because it always does. Will I continue using this setup? Maybe. Will I have to take the glass off? Maybe. Will I have to add a power vent like I did to this version of the heat mat hot box? And again, I used a draft inducer for a furnace. I think I built these with stuff that I had, and since then I've contemplated several design improvements. And am I gonna start working on that right away? No. It's probably something like when you're homesteading and it's wintertime, you got to start figuring out stuff to do. That's usually when I do a lot of home improvements and things like that. And so there will, I'm sure, be another incarnation of the heat mat hot boxes. But I modified one of them to house microgreens, and I will probably, after I get a lot of starts and stuff out of that other one, then I will probably modify that one as well to increase microgreen production, because I want to be in more farmers markets than I was last year. This is Matt with a Low Cash Homestead. So we're working on our raised beds, and I'm talking to you a little bit about microgreens. Thank you very much. Have a good night.